what's up you guys, this is Rob from A Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Daily Grind, well, the Plains of Eidolon was an amazing demo to be shown off, and Umbra, of course, is something that we've been asking for a while. I do kind of want to bring down the hype levels a little bit, and kind of appeal to you guys as to all of the reasons why we should get excited, but not too excited about the upcoming releases. Alright, so I know that I've kind of had a reputation of being a very, very positive force in the community. You know, I like to get everybody excited and, you know, put out some good vibes into the community. However, one of the things that I feel is a little bit necessary right now is, I guess I want to call it a little bit of a damage control, not damage control, but kind of like, I want to control the hype just a little bit, because I think that we are getting carried away, and there are a few things that we are forgetting, so I kind of want to put this out to you guys and appeal to your rationality. And this is not me trying to like shit on like anything that DE is doing, but you know, I want to make sure you guys are realistic about certain things. Oh, whoa, that slide was just a little intense. I want to make sure that you guys are being realistic about things rather than kind of, you know, just blindly jumping aboard, you know, the happiness bandwagon. Listen, I love happiness, but let's not bandwagon it. Let's all like really think rationally for ourselves. So the first thing that I kind of want to put on the table for you guys is the fact that we need to remind ourselves that when we say open world for Warframe, this isn't technically as open worldy as we think it is. It's gonna be basically what it boils down to is DE is calling this landscapes. They're not calling this open world themselves. What they're saying is basically it's kind of like, you know, we jump into a mission, except instead of having a mission that is gonna be like a bunch of kind of, I guess, jumbled up puzzle pieces, you know, that they kind of like put together and to make the, what is it called, procedurally generated? There you go. Yeah, it's not going to be a procedurally generated tile set. Instead, it's going to be this 3 km by 3 km handcrafted tile set. You know, it's going to be this massive open area, but it still is going to be instanced. It still is 4 people at a time. So you're not going to, you know, run into like millions of players out there as we're running around. It's not going to be like MMORPG like, you know, where you can have like tons and tons of people in this kind of same zone-wide area. It's going to be 4 instance people, and that's just kind of, you know, how it's going to work. So, you know, one of the things that I kind of want to point out here is that while it's going to be fresh and new to us and it's going to be really exciting, and, you know, DE has stated that the AI on these things, you know, is going to, like, events are going to escalate. Events are going to escalate, you know, depending on how you basically approach certain situations. If you kill a group of enemies, they're probably going to send a dropship down, and, you know, it's going to become a little bit harder, but at the end of the day, what's going to happen is that 3 km by 3 km area, which I believe is 9 square kilometers. I'm really bad. You guys know how terrible I am at math, like, offhand, you know? Like, if you give me a calculator, I'm good at math. But then I think a lot of people are. But yeah, so it's going to be this 9 km square area that eventually we're all going to learn. We're all going to understand how this 9 km by 9 km square area works. And on top of that, not only are we going to learn how that works, we're also going to be very aware of the way that, you know, events are going to escalate. Same thing goes for the Eidolons. The Eidolons might be a crazy new big thing that's going to end up, you know, challenging us at the very beginning. But eventually, just like everything else in this game, and just like every other game out there, and this is the thing that I have to remind you, this is every game. This isn't just Warframe. But we all learn the encounters. We all get really good at the encounters, and the encounters get, you know, the encounters get min-maxed, and, you know, we just find our way to grind through it, just like we did with the raids. So I'm not trying to shit on anyone's day, like this isn't gonna be super, super exciting, but I do want to remind you guys that, you know, this is new in one way, but not completely new. And I don't want you to think that this is going to be, you know, earth-shattering, like, oh my god, this is the thing that fixes everything. It's not. But it's going to be something different enough to keep our attentions for quite a while. Like, the Hawk's Anvil thing and being able to craft our own weapons and having all of those combinations, that's not going to change, you know, the way that the melee system works or the way that the leveling system works. It's just going to mean that we get to customize things more, you know, and to me that's exciting. To me that is very exciting. The kind of the ability to like, oh, Well, I want some crit dual daggers, you know? And maybe that's, you know, maybe that's not a thing, maybe that's not exactly quite how it's gonna work, but, you know, because of the fact that we get to choose what strike is on it and what handle is on it, we'll be able to say, alright, well, if you combine this with this, it'll probably make like a crit version of dual daggers. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm in the mood for that. And that's a cool and amazing thing, but we also have to remember that because of the fact that there are going to be so many weapons to make, we're probably going to have to do a lot of farming for the resources. You know, whether that means like a shit ton of fishing or a shit ton of Eidolon killing, we have to remember that there's still going to be farming involved. Listen, I'm not trying to ruin your day. I'm not trying to shit on Plains of Eidolon before it's out, but I want you to take a realistic look at it. I want you to, you know, I want you to temper your expectations, you know? Because there's going to be people that are going to be like, oh yeah, it's the best thing ever, this is great. But you know, while Hawk's Anvil is going to be amazing, at the same time, it is going to incorporate some things in the game that, you know, people may not necessarily be the fondest of, like maybe rare component drop rates. And I'm not saying that DE isn't gonna work to try to make it a great experience, because they are, and that's the thing. DE is always working to make things better and more exciting, but that doesn't mean that we're not gonna have to work for our weapons, you know? Or maybe, possibly, and I don't know if this is a thing, okay? I don't know, I haven't confirmed it. You know, maybe they sell some parts, or maybe they sell certain, like, components, like a strike component for plat. You know, that might be a thing that is a possibility. And here's the thing, I don't want y'all to get all up in arms in it. We haven't seen it. We don't know. But you know, it's potentially a possibility. You know, they might have that as a thing, and then, you know, people are gonna be like, oh, DE's money grubbing, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm just putting this out there into the universe. Number one, that's a possibility. They do have a business to run. But at that same time, some people might be like, well, you know, I had all of, maybe for newer players, they might look at it and be like, oh shit, well, we have a bajillion weapons out there already. Now I have to do all of these weapons too. Like, how is this gonna go? Like, you know, there's still gonna be problems. And I don't want anybody to think that there's not. And one thing that I need to point out too, DE is gonna be doing something new, something insane. It's gonna be, you know, this whole landscapes thing is gonna be really, really intense. And if y'all think it's gonna be perfect on day one, you crazy. You are absolutely in fact, you know, if you have a friend that thinks it's gonna be perfect on day one, send them to this video, make sure they watch this shit, and then be like, he told you so. In all honesty, this is something so new and so different that I don't think that they're gonna get it right within the first week. I think that they're going to put out the initial thing. I think it's going to be amazing. It's going to be fun, but it's going to have some bugs in it. You know, that's just the way shit works. You know, it just works out that sometimes there are bugs in video games. That's life. But at the same time, I know that they're going to fix it. I know that they're not intentional bugs that they put in, so if you hear like anybody on Reddit or anybody on the forums or any YouTube content creators that are like, oh my god, DE, what are you thinking? DE, listen, they can't catch every fucking thing. They are humans making a game for other humans, alright? So, number one, hold on, let me select my relic before I start talking. So number one, we have to be accepting of the fact that yes, they are other human beings and that they're going to make mistakes. Maybe a line of code gets left out. Maybe something doesn't quite work out the way that they thought it would work out. Maybe something got omitted, you know, maybe it got submitted too early and somebody had something else that they needed to submit in. There's a lot that could potentially happen, all right? There is a lot that, why is this guy, oh, he's in Anaros. I was like, why is he glowing? What's happening there? There's a lot of things that could potentially happen. You know what I mean? And if we're going to be realistic, I think that it's going to be in a working state on day one. However, I think that they're going to keep, you know, ironing out bugs. I think that they're going to keep ironing out bugs for the first week. And, you know, if anybody's jumping to conclusions, be like, DE, this is, why is this not working on day one? Well, guess fucking what? It happens sometimes. Alright? There are many video games out there that do day one patches. It's humans making things for other humans, alright? So what I want you guys to do as human beings is to treat DE and their staff like human beings. Treat them the way that you would want to be treated at your job. You know what I mean? Don't bring up past shit. Like, if you had, listen, if you had somebody at your job consistently bringing up all of the old shit that you fucked up on, how would you feel? Alright? It's time, be encouraging, be nice, but also make sure to, you know, keep your list of bugs and make sure to, you know, submit that to the forums, because they need to know to fix that shit, right? They need to know to fix it. But also, you gotta remember that they are human beings, just like you're a human being. So they're gonna fuck up sometimes. It's not gonna be perfect 100% of the time, but because you are a human being and they are a human being, you should treat them the way that you want to be treated as a human being. Alright? So that means keep down your snarkiness. We don't need it. Nobody needs that snarkiness. We just need you to, like, say, alright, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be fixed, and this needs to be fixed. Thank you. And provide, you know, provide them with whatever photos you can, and if you can, you know, reproduce. They call it reproing. We talk about it a lot. You know, if the bug can be reproduced, let them know what it is that produces the bug so that they can get down to its core. Alright? So I think we covered the fact that, number one, it's not open world. Number two, DE is human beings too. Just like my grammar is human beings. No, that DE are human beings too. You know, their shit's not going to be perfect all the time. And same thing goes for... you know, treating them like human beings. We went over the kind of resource stuff that's going on with Hawk's Anvil. Ooh, let's talk about the Eidolons real quick. I don't think they're gonna, like, if, you know, just me being real, and not that I don't have faith in them, but, you know, I'm just putting this out into the universe, that I don't think that they're gonna initially have balance for the Eidolons handled completely 100%. You know, it's not, I don't think it's gonna be 100% on day one. You know what I mean? I think that they're gonna make additional tweaks to it. They're gonna, you know, they're gonna play around with it a little bit more, you know, as time goes on. So whatever we have for the Eidolons on day one, number one, don't expect them to work perfectly on day one, and at the same time, don't expect their balance to be 100% done on day one either. You know, and I know that a lot of people are gonna be like, well, they should have it 100% down, but DE, I think, DE is very involved with the community, and they kind of like to see how their community is faring. So if their community, like, is having a ridiculous amount of trouble with it, and it's not just player stupidity. I was gonna try to find a different word for player stupidity, but y'all know, sometimes they're just bad players that get salty because they're bad, alright? Oh, why is this so difficult? It's supposed to be endgame content, it's supposed to be challenging content, so I don't want it to be like, you know, I don't want you to think that they're gonna make it super easy, but I also don't want you to, you know, but I also don't think that they want to make it impossible. So that I think that they're gonna toe that line for a little bit, and it might be too easy one day, and it might be too difficult the next day. I'm just putting that out into the universe right now. I mean, listen, y'all know I love DE, but like I said, it's humans making video games for other human beings. There's bound to be changes, and for anybody to come out and think that it's gonna, you know, that they have to have it right the first time around, y'all crazy. Y'all are, that's the beauty of Warframe. That's the beauty of Warframe. Things can be altered, things can be changed, things can be patched, things can be fixed, things can be upgraded, things can be downgraded. You know, there's this kind of like fluidity that occurs with Warframe, and DE listens a lot to their community. You know, DE listens a lot to their community to try to make the game as best as possible, but that means that, you know, changes are gonna happen. That means that occasionally they're gonna fuck up. Occasionally they're gonna do it right though, and I think that Plains of Eidolon is a really, really cool direction that they can take with the game. It's something that's gonna be, I think it's something that's gonna be very interesting and very refreshing. I think that's the number one thing that I'm walking away with this, is that it is gonna be a very refreshing addition to the game. I'm excited for Hawk's Anvil. I really want to be able to make stuff. I'm really excited for the potential changes to the operators. Like, I'm excited, but I am cautiously optimistic, and that's the number one thing. I feel like right now, you know, usually the community is salty and bitchy, you know what I mean? And usually I'm here like, y'all gotta stop being salty and bitchy. But I feel like it's also kind of like my responsibility right now to be like hold on. I'm like, hold on one second. Hold on 1 second. Like, I like you guys being happy, but, you know, don't get so happy that you're gonna crash back down like in a minute, you know? Don't be so happy that, you know, when it's not everything you hoped and dreamed of, especially everything you hoped and dreamed of on day one, that you're gonna be salty and bitter all over again, okay? I don't want it to be that far a drop. I want it to be like well, I thought this was gonna be, you know, I thought this was gonna be a little bit different, but you know, I'm seeing it for what it is, and I want you guys to do your best to see it as, you know, for what it is, instead of, you know, just getting so hyped about it right now and going, oh, it's gonna be the best thing ever, and then you get it and you're like, oh, well, you know, this wasn't as crazy and different as I thought it was gonna be. You know, I just want to impress that upon you. That I think it's gonna be refreshing. I think that it's gonna be new. I think that it's gonna be exciting. I think that, you know, a lot of people will appreciate the additions that they put in, especially, like, I can't wait to see the things that they do with the operator, and I hope, and I don't think that they're going to be able, you know, me being realistic, I don't think that they're going to be able to launch it, you know, I don't think that they're going to be able to launch a full-blown rework of Focus, you know, with Plains of Eidolon. That's, you know, I'm just being straightforward and being truthful. Like, I don't think that's going to be something that we're going to see straight out of the gates. However, I do want to see all of the operator outfit changes, you know what I mean? Like the maturing them into a warrior. Really excited to see that. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with Glassframe, because this is the first, like, how do I put it? This is the first kind of, like, concept that I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen here. You know what I mean? I'm like, what are they going to do with glass? What's this? And for anybody who's watched my streams, for anyone who's watched my streams or maybe seen me in the comments before, where I talk about exalted weapons, girls got an exalted hammer. Y'all know, exalted weapons, they're fun. In fact, I'm using an exalted Arcwing right now that I think about it. They're fun, but you know, to me, they're like not necessarily the most mind-blowing. It's gonna be the rest of her abilities that I'm hoping are really exciting. And I don't really know where they're gonna take it with this one, because, you know, there's a lot to be said. I think they mentioned that it's not just about, like, breaking glass and, you know, all that kind of stuff and shattering, but to be able to kind of, like, meld things and create things. So I'm definitely curious as to where that's gonna go. And, you know, if I'm gonna be realistic too, because I said it on stream, and, you know, I want to stay true to how I'm feeling. I can't wait to see how they finish tweaking her model, because I think initially I'm kind of about the model. I'm like, it's not the pretty, and I'm like thinking in my head, you know, just you'll be able to fashion frame it. It'll be nice after you fashion frame it. That's just me trying to, like, save it a little bit, because right now I'm not super excited about the way that she looks. But I bet you anything they're gonna do some passes on her. They're gonna give her a non-like T-pose, and that'll probably give her a little bit more personality than what she's got right now. So I can't wait to see how that's done. But again, as you can see, I've controlled the levels of hype. I'm cautiously optimistic. I am excited about everything that is to come, but I'm also gonna be realistic about what's to come, you know? It's not technically open world, you know, it's not technically open world, it's not, ooh, but Boar Prime is what do you call this? Boar Prime is currently vaulted. So, you know, see, look, I'm following the tips. I'm following the tips that I gave you guys yesterday. I'm trying to pick up some vaulted relics to make sure that I can sell this shit for some plat, because, you know, I need to make sure that I've got plat for shit too, just in case they do end up selling those parts for goddamn platinum. And y'all don't get bitter about that yet. You just wait. I'm just prepping. I'm just prepping this out for myself and just making sure. But yeah, so I want you guys to stay realistic. I don't want you guys to get all too crazy about it. I want you to be very aware of what is and what isn't. Again, this technically isn't open world. It's an instance, 4-person, massive zone for us to play around in. You know, don't think that, you know, we're not going to end up learning that zone eventually. Don't think that we're not going to end up learning those, what is it called, those encounters eventually. Same thing goes for the Eidolons. It really looks big and it really looks epic, and I can't wait to fight them, and I can't wait to learn the fights for them. And I can't wait to see how, like, the Arcwing's abilities interplay with them, because that's the one thing that we haven't been able to do, is to kind of, like, have these weird air-to-ground fights and have Warframes interact with Arcwings, right? I mean, like, a part of me is wondering how they gonna handle balancing Amisha. You know, I see you. I'm thinking it in my head. I'm like, don't nerf Amisha, don't nerf Amisha, don't nerf Amisha. But I'm thinking it in my head. You know, I'm saying it right now. So all of the things, I just want you guys to be cautiously optimistic. I want you to still be excited, but I don't want you to be like throwing up puke levels of hype over something that I don't think that a lot of people quite understand the reality of yet. So I hope that helped. I'm usually not the hype killer, but you know, I definitely wanted to make sure to temper people's emotions at this very moment. I still say get excited because there's some really interesting things that I can't wait to see, like that glass shotgun. My soul is ringing out for a glass shotgun. That sounds fucking... Listen, have you ever had a glass shatter? Like, I stepped on a glass before, and you had to like pull out all the little pieces of glass from your foot. I mean, they weren't like deep in your foot, but you know, you had little tiny shards. That's gotta be irritating to the enemies. There should be like a glass status proc where they're just like, what the is this shit? Get this, like, ugh. Anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go. So as always, first let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. Do you feel like your emotions have been tempered? Do you feel like you're gonna be a little more realistic with this? But that aside, as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.